Hey now, cats, we're back again this week on the Balls from Ellwood show, and we actually kind of sort of have a little holiday themed show for you this week. We're going to talk about things that we consider required viewing during the holidays, and as you know, most Christmas music is, well, just fucking terrible. So I'm going to talk about Christmas music that I think is not lame. We got a very special guest coming up. Xtina, would you mind telling the audience who that is?
It is a very cool metal band, Rusty Eye, straight from Mexico. That's right.
So we'll be talking to them. As you know, they're one of Ball's favorites. I've loved them cats for a long time. Other than that, we're going to talk about a couple things that we watched over the holiday, and Xtina has an all-new, super new Depravity Corner, and then we're going to get right to our interview. So we might as well just dig right in. I mean, how have you been, though? Like, can you tell me how you've been?
Well, I've been okay. We've been,
It's been a rough couple miles here.
We've been moving. We've been, dealing with some personal things. Things are, 2020-ish. I think that's the new catchphrase.
I mean, to the bitter end, 2020 is really gonna go out like a lion. So. But anyway, let's talk about more, more pleasant things.
Absolutely.
Each year, Balls likes to cuddle around the TV and warm up with a blankie and watch some great horror films. So let's talk about stuff that I like to watch every year. And there's some normal stuff too, so don't get too afraid. I mean, obviously we like to watch Rankin and Bass's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which we have. Frosty the Snowman. We haven't watched that yet. Happy birthday! What else? I watch Christmas Vacation.
Well, we watched the Peanuts Christmas special.
Oh, that's probably that's super high on my list, man. I have great memories. It always brings back great memories when I was a kid. The Charlie Brown Christmas special. I miss watching it now. It seems a little hollow because you don't see all those Dolly Madison Zinger commercials every 10 minutes like when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Other than that, I watched Scrooged, of course. That's a classic to me. But let's get into some holiday horror films that I think is really cool during the Christmas time. The granddaddy of them all, I think, is probably Black Christmas. That still retains the creep value. It's still every bit of a classic. Bob Clark's the original. You know what? The first remake wasn't too bad.
Okay.
The second remake, from what I hear, I had no interest in even seeing it. So.
Yeah.
But the second remake's okay. But the first one, you're never
gonna.
The
first one's okay.
The second one's not so much. But you're never gonna, it's during Christmas, but man, it's still a creepy movie. Retains its spookiness. If you want some goofy, something goofy, not too serious, I always love Jack Frost every Christmas. I mean, how could you sit there and be unhappy watching a killer snowman? And always,
can't go wrong.
You can't, And speaking of classics, Silent Night, Deadly Night, 1 and 2, everything else after that, I don't think I'd worry too much about. But I always end up watching those every year. They always entertain me. I think people, it gets a bad name, because of whenever it first came out with the ratings. It was like one of the first X-rated films, I think.
Jeez.
And I think it gets a bad rap, but it's actually a pretty solid flick. So, second one is just a regurgitation of the first one, but it's got so many goofy, funny one-liners, and that guy's acting so over the top. I can't not watch it if I ever see it on. So, last night we just watched Krampus. I watch it every year, as you know. It's the dude that did Trick or Treat. That was his second film, and that was his attempt at a holiday horror film, other than for Christmas. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I love the remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night, but it's just a reboot and title namesake only. But I love that. It's got Jamie King in it as a cop, and it's loosely based on Silent Night, Deadly Night, but as a psycho and a Santa mask, it's more of a slasher, and it's got some really good kills. One of my favorites new favorites that I've adopted every year now. I first seen it, and I just instantly fell in love with it. And now I watch it every year. What would I say to you if I said, zombie Christmas musical? Would you say, oh yeah, I'm in? Well, if that's the answer that you would say, then you're going to love this film. Highly recommend Anna in the Apocalypse.
Yes.
It's got heart. It's got some catchy numbers, man. Like afterwards, I always end up visiting on Spotify and listening to the soundtrack, and it's I'm always like, yeah, singing along with it. And people want think I'm more weird than they do already, which is fine.
That's okay. Yeah.
But I absolutely love it. Highly recommended. It gets better every time you watch it.
Absolutely.
Christmas Horror Story. I love anthologies, and there's not very many Christmas anthologies I noticed. This one has William Shatner as a radio DJ. That's the whole wraparound story, and that's how the people were calling in the radio show, and then it introduces. There's 3 stories, I believe. There's one about Krampus, one about these kids that go to like this haunted, what do you call that? Like a place where the nuns are.
A
monastery
or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then there's one. There's actually the best one is probably Santa Claus. Elves gets a zombie infection, and they're all trying to kill Santa Claus. So and he's trying to survive. That one's it's pretty interesting. It's pretty good. It's got some great stuff. A lot of people don't consider Gremlins a horror film or a Christmas horror film, but I mean, it very much is. When I was a kid, it took place at Christmas. It came out around Christmas. The whole movie's around Christmas, and I mean, I end up watching that somewhat every year. I still love it.
The first Child's Play too, isn't that?
Oh
Christmas?
Man, that's a good one. I totally forgot about that. That is around Christmas,
trying to
man.
Get him a Christmas present.
Who
knew?
I'm missing. It's actually going to be a lot of stuff I'm missing on this list, but that's why I have Xtina. So my memory is shot from years of hard living. So I mean, there's going to be a lot that's missing. So these are just a very rough, very quick off the top of my head. But there's so you don't have to email me and go, well, how did you miss this one? How did you miss this one? This is just a quick list. So relax. All 3 of you just calm down. So, other than that. I like I'm a Mystery Science Theater fan, so every year Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is, for sure required viewing. I can't get enough of that. A lot of people I don't know if they went under the radar, but there was a little movie called Better Watch Out a few years ago.
Good stuff.
We really dug that. We thought that was really cool. It's one of those ones where it's better off where the
less you know, the better off
because there's tons of red herrings, tons of twists and turns, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
No, not at all.
I watched Nightmare Before Christmas. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it a Halloween movie? You decide, but I end up watching it during Christmas
whatever
mostly.
You want it to be.
It really is, but I mean, it never gets old, man. Jack Skellington, wanting to be Santa Claus. I mean, you don't get more Christmas than that.
That's right.
Other than that, there's a lot of Christmas episodes that was on television that I enjoy to watch. Tales from the Crypt, the pilot, if you remember, was called All Through the House. And it featured the late, great Larry Drake, who was Dr. Giggles and a bunch of other... he was in Dark Knight the Scarecrow, as you know. And it's still, to this day, it's still spooky. And I love it. I love watching that. And Tales from the Dark Side had a Christmas episode, I think... trying to think what it was called, Seasons of Belief. And it was about this. It was I think it was this grandpap. His grandkids didn't believe in Santa Claus anymore. They're kind of getting older, and they're like, that's bullshit. Tell us a scary story for Christmas Eve. We want to be scared. So he tells them about this creature called the Grither. And if you even speak his name, he'll come and kill you. So, and they all think it's ridiculous. And, of course, the Grither shows himself at the end. But it's not a spoiler. It won't ruin it, trust me. But that's I end up watching that every year. I think that's spooky. And I mean, like I said, there's so much more. That's just a little bit. Actually, no, I did miss one.
You skipped over Christmas Vacation and Christmas Story, and I'm okay with you skipping over.
No, I still, man, I don't even know. This lady's crazy. I mean, I never met anybody. You're the only person I ever met that hates A Christmas Story. It just it hurts my heart.
Crawl.
It hurts my heart. It really does. I'm gonna go shoot my eye out right now.
I see what you did there.
Rare Exports. That's what I wanted to talk about. That's a foreign film that not too many people seen. There's like this archaeological dig, and then they actually uncover the tomb of Santa Claus. And when they release him, wackiness ensues. He's not the happy, jolly Santa that you think. He's actually a bad motherfucker. He's really evil. But
wow.
Pretty cool. But I mean, moving right along. I mean, like I said, check some of those out if you want some good holiday horror flicks during the next few days. Other than that, let's talk about music, Christmas music. I mean, I can't stand hearing the shit like 2 months before Christmas. By the time Christmas rolls around, you want to put a drill through your ears. Most of it's really, really terrible. Like for instance, what do you call it? That Christmas shoes song. It's so fucking depressing.
Oh, Lord.
How come Christmas music has to be depressing now? Like, it's
Shouldn't
the
be
old
depressing.
standards that
Isn't
you
it
heard.
a happy time? Or
It's all the old standards you heard a million times, which you're sick of, and that bores you. Or they have these new songs that make you want to hang yourself. So, like, is Christmas not the most depressing time of the year and the most high rate of suicide?
Correct.
How about make some happy shit?
Right.
So, take balls and Xtina's recommendations on Christmas music that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
So, for instance, let's start with Bad Religion, Christmas songs. They take the old Christmas standards that you're sick and bored of
And they punk it right
the
up.
fuck up.
That's
right. As for a Twisted Christmas, you can't beat that, man. Twisted Sister. Oh, come all ye faithful to We're Not Gonna Take It. That's all I have to say. And the rest of it's pretty good, too. My boys, the Reverend Horton Heat and the gang, they have an incredible Christmas CD I've been listening to for years, We Three Kings. You want a kind of a rockabilly, psychobilly kind of treatment of all Christmas old standards. There's a little bit of something for everybody in there. Even if you don't like surf rock, hear me out. Low Straight Jacket's one of my favorite bands. They have a little Christmas CD called
so nice.
Tis the Season. For Low Straight Jackets, and people that don't even like surf rock,
it's just
honestly, it's one
nice,
of my favorite and most listenable. And if it doesn't put you in a happy Christmas mood, man, or you're not tapping your feet, there's something wrong. Right. Moving right along to more of a punk side, the Vandals. I've been listening to Oi to the World since it came out. I think it's been over a decade ago. And there's some crazy songs on there. I mean, there's Christmas Time for My Penis. There's
oh boy.
There's I think Santa's Last Christmas, or not Santa, Grandpa's Last Christmas. It's a very
That might be morbid.
I like it for this reason. It shows the dark side of Christmas, which people. There is a very dark side of Christmas, and people don't recognize. And I think it's kind of funny that they focus on the bad shit. So there's a nice Christmas album by the Toasters called Christmas Ska. That's really awesome if you like that. Real Big Fish has kind of a funny Happy Scala Days. They do Grandma Got Run Over by Reindeer and other stuff.
It's always fun.
Goldfinger has a nice little Christmas EP. They do White Christmas. I really like that.
Oh, that's good.
Billy Idol. If you can't hear Billy Idol, I love him. Just picture Billy Idol singing "Here Comes Santa Claus." That's everything like you think it would sound like. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. That's great. So
I haven't heard that. I haven't.
MU330. I've been listening to that since I was in high school. Man, they have a great Christmas album. My boy Harry Connick Jr. Laugh All You Want. One of my favorite musicians in the world. His first album. One of the greatest Christmas albums ever.
I believe that.
I mean, he's released ones after that, but it's never been. I think it's what is it? Fuck, I don't know. It's the first one. But and last but not least, I always listen to this compilation. It's called A Santa Cause. It has a lot of. It actually went to some charitable for the foundation when it came out, but it has tons of great people. It has Blink 182, the Boss Tones, Something Corporate, all kinds of cool. It's a really good comp. So I mean, not only that, if you want single songs, I've compiled single Christmas songs from albums that I like for years. If you go on Spotify under Balls Kick-Ass Christmas Ska Mix, you can access all those too.
Wow. So, I have one to add.
Oh, please do.
The most epic
oh boy,
Christmas song of all. You know where this is going. Ronnie James Dio singing, God rest ye merry gentlemen, nothing you dismay.
How did I forget that?
I don't know, man, but you must.
Especially at the metal show.
It's a must. You must get on that.
Rusty I would be disappointed.
I know, right? Man, sure. Get on that. Ronnie James Dio, God rest ye merry gentlemen.
So
gentlemen!
Yeah.
If that doesn't make you bang your head and be in a Christmas mood, I don't know what will, right?
You know what? How did I miss that? I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, you gotta get it. Nah, that's all right. That's what I'm here for.
I know. Well, I mean, since you are here, why don't you give us a little taste of your new Depravity?
Well, it's, you keep saying new Depravity. Well, this is so far from new. It's ridiculous. But since we're on a Christmassy theme, I thought, all right, this is about the most Christmassy murder story there is out there, I think. So everybody knows it. Everybody's sick of it. But everybody has a freaking theory about it. And I would love to hear some of your theories about it. Good old JonBenet Ramsey.
Oh, boy.
I know. Everybody's sick of it. But here's what's funny. You know, over the years, you've heard so much about the name JonBenet Ramsey, and, you know, and everybody assumed the parents did it. And everybody, and, you know, it's like, all right, and, you know, you hear bits and pieces, but you never, you know, unless you really, like, do some research and investigating and whatever, you don't really get the entire story. So I think it was about a year or so ago, you know, around Christmas time, one of my newest podcasters did, like, an actual, you know, breakdown of the whole thing. So I actually listened to it because, you know, I didn't really know the whole backstory and how it all began. And everybody knows that little JonBenet was a little pageant queen, and her mom, you know, was basically like using her to live vicariously through her because she missed her pageant days and all that and whatever. We can judge all we want, but that's not what this is about. What's funny is, I mean, you know, they lived in, like, outside of Denver, Colorado. They had, you know, they lived an affluent lifestyle, of course, and they had, you know, fancy parties, and they had a Christmas party at their house. And it was about probably 2 or 3 days before little JonBenet wound up dead. And there was, you know, a friend, a family friend. And I think that, and again, are these rumors? Are these true? I don't know if anybody truly knows, but there were rumors that one of the family friends, like, went up and checked on her in her bed and was kind of like, just, you know, slightly creepy about things. And, you know, and so there's a theory that maybe it was this man that perhaps, you know, a few days later decided to do something. But what's very interesting is, you know, everybody always says, oh, well, JonBenet was killed and, you know, the parents always seemed so guilty, like they were hiding something. Xtina's theory is, and they've ruled this out, but listen to me. She had an older brother. He was 9 at the time. And I mean, a 9-year-old's, you know, pretty, it sounds young, but they can do a lot of things. And if they're really ticked off, they can do a lot of things that you wouldn't think of. He was probably extremely jealous of her because, you know,
I'd imagine she probably got all the attention.
Yeah, she got all the attention, and then supposedly she got a bike or she was getting a bike for Christmas. How he knew this, I don't know, but like I guess it happened. It happened after Christmas. I think she got killed the day after Christmas. So, you know, he was jealous of her attention, and then I think she got a bike and he didn't or something, and, you know, she was found strangled. I mean, a 9-year-old kid, I think, is fully capable of strangling a little 4 or 5-year-old, whatever she was, 6, you know. She was a tiny little girl, you know, and, you know, they supposedly have ruled him out. But, I mean, as far as evidence goes and as far as motive goes, I just don't think the parents really would do this, you know, but would they act really strange and create a potentially fake ransom letter and do all kinds of things to protect their son who may have done this? I truly believe that. However, you know, I guess they interviewed this kid, and over the years they've ruled him not so much to be, you know, they found him fine, but I don't know, man. Have you ever seen this kid in an interview?
No.
It's there's something very off about him. And, you know, don't come for me. I don't even remember his name. Grant, I don't know. Ramsey, I don't know. It's a weird name. So it's not Grant. But I can't help but think it was the brother all along. If it's not that theory, and I would love to hear your theories. I just recently read somewhere where there were 32 registered sex offenders who lived within a 3-mile radius of the Ramsey home.
Dang.
So if that's the case, think about that. You know, she was, I'm sure, a very well-known little model in her town, for sure. And, you know, what predator wouldn't want to get their hands on her, you know? So that's another theory. But it also doesn't play into why, like, the parents totally made a fake ransom note. Like, that was a known fact. So why would they do that unless it was, again, protecting a family friend or protecting the brother? So those are my two hot theories with the JonBenet case. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because it's still unsolved. All these years later, still unsolved.
Seriously?
Yeah, still an open case. And I mean,
and nobody's ever got convicted of anything.
Nobody's ever got convicted of anything.
They got away with murder. Somebody got away with murder.
Yep, somebody got away with murder. There was a man in Thailand who claimed to be the killer at one point. But you know how people like to, for some strange reason, falsely admit to things.
They went through 15 minutes of
No,
fame.
yeah, I guess it's so weird to me. But there was that. But I mean, Patsy Ramsey died many years ago. She had cancer. And I believe John Ramsey has passed away. Quick side note on him, for a while there, I don't know how long, but he got involved. He was dating Natalie Holloway's mom. They met, through all the media and then through having lost their daughters. They ended up, I think they dated for a good 5 years or something. Isn't that funny? I just thought that was kind of kooky. But
that was weird.
I know. It's like people bond over tragedy. I mean, how could you not? But I honestly, I mean, yeah, the parents, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have my own opinions about people who try to force their kids into anything, like pageantry or, even sports or anything that we don't know if they want to do yet because they're not old enough to make that decision for themselves. I don't like that, and I'll always stand by that. So I have issues, but are they killers? I really don't think. I never thought the parents did it. I really don't. But I do think that they were trying to protect someone they loved. And so with that, And
the sad part is we'll probably never know.
I can't imagine that we would ever know. And they said there was DNA found on her, but it was never determined whose it was. And you would think after all these years now,
all the technology,
right? But I don't think they had either they didn't have enough of a DNA sample, that wasn't strong enough, or maybe after all these years it kind of dissipated or what have you. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad that we'll never know. And little, JonBenet, may she rest in peace. Hopefully one day we'll get her justice. That would be great. But again, I think things are always more obvious than they seem. And I'm going to still go with the brother. That's Xtina's hot take. So if that ever comes out one day, you heard it here first.
Solid.
What else we got, Balls?
Well, that's it for this week. Make sure you tune in next week to the Balls from Ellwood show. But coming up next, we have my interview with the incredibly shredding metal amazing band Rusty Eyes. So make sure you tune in for that, cats. And we'll be talking about their new album, Dissecting Shadows, among other things. So tune in for that, and tune in next week in the Balls from Ellwood show.
That's right.
Hey now, cats, we're back again this week on the Balls from Ellwood show. And with me, I have one of the most, I've admired these cats for a long, long time. One of the most shreddingest fucking metal bands there is. Give it up for Rusty Eye. Make sure you check them out. And I'm just going to go right into it, cats. Were you all musical growing up?
Yes, I would say I always wanted to be in music and, singing, drumming, or dancing. I was always doing something like that.
How about you?
Well, as far as music growing up, my family's not exactly a musical family whatsoever. No real rhythm or anything like that. But it was basically a middle school just deal I made with my best friend. All right, man, I'll pick up the guitar, you pick up the bass, we'll fucking start a band, and he didn't, but I stuck with it.
How about you, Mr. Rust?
For me, I started playing when I was 30 years old, and that's around the same time I started getting the main idea on how to make a band that was completely different than original. So it goes back to that instant, right? So after so long, we're still doing the same thing with the same vision per se.
Well, let me ask you this: at what age did you all discover metal?
Around 15, I'd say. Basically, just I won tickets on a radio station to see Slipknot and Machine Head, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And so yeah, those like it was from there on out.
Miss Randall?
Oh yes. Well, I guess I kind of discovered it from there was this particular TV show in Mexico that was running metal and rock videos, and I guess I was around 11, 12. But I knew that I liked it, but I didn't compute it as metal until about 15, when I was like, I really like this and I want to pursue this.
And me, I was 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
Some Hesher-looking guy, complete metalhead, was talking music to my mom. She made a comment that she liked Van Halen, and this guy, that sucks. Like, that's not metal. Check this out. And he had just bought these records. He didn't care. He gave them to her. That was Iron Maiden, Power Slave, Twisted Sister, Under the Blade, and the Wasp's first record. So my mom looked at that and she was like, "What is this crap?" And she just tossed them away. And I found them, and I would listen to them over and over and over and over. And for so long, when I was a kid, I didn't know that there was other bands or other records from the same bands, right? I thought that was it, you know. So I probably heard those records more than anyone else has.
That's awesome, man. I always think of everybody has a definitive moment, and those are great answers. How did you guys come up with the name Rusty Eye?
Well, there was when we started out, there was a couple of ideas for the band. Like originally it was named Poltergeist, but then we figured out that there was already a Poltergeist in Germany. It was like some progressive thrash band or something like that. And then it was also named for a while Scarecrow because of the Scarecrow song from those days. And then, but we needed something like that was like completely unique and different, and at the same time very simple, and that had a good sound to it. So we made like the members back then, and we made a list of possible names. I remember there was like some stuff like Malpractice or Ouija, or like stuff like that. So everyone agreed on Rusty Eye, which was actually my contribution to that list. And of course, it's about the whole corroding the obvious normie view of things. And at the same time, it could be interpreted as a name. It could be a guy like Rusty, first name, last name, I, or it has different connotations. Like a lot of people also think that it's asshole. You know, there's multi. It's like kind of like make your own story type of thing, and it has a good sound to it. And most importantly, there's no other band in the world named Rusty Eye but us, because that's the thing, you know. Like when you go to those commonplace names, there's 50-something bands that have the same name, particularly nowadays.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the band came to fruition? Like how did it come together?
Well, it was precisely that whole thing that I was saying, where we were trying to like look for an original sound, and we were originally a 4-piece, and this was the Rodrigo that was the original guitar player that did the first album. Like we came up with when we were like 15 years old, we came up with the idea, and he really understood what the whole thing was about, right? And we would try like different local musicians and stuff like that. Not a lot of people actually get what we were doing because they wanted to play covers of like stuff that was popular at the time, like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, whatever. They were more interested in feeling with that. We were trying to sound like Halloween and stuff like that. That wasn't particularly popular at that moment in the 90s. And
you were in junior high, right?
Yes, and then eventually I have a cousin that he always wanted to be part of the band, and he always wanted to hang out with the band, and he wanted to play with the band. And he said he was a drummer, but he didn't have a drum kit, and he didn't play drums either. So we were like, yeah, like one of these days, whatever. But he would always like, one of these days I'm gonna get a drum kit, and like he kind of like understood what we were going for, but he was, I mean, he didn't have the instrument or the skill or whatever. But one day he called us and he was well, the whole poltergeist thing and Scarecrow didn't go anywhere really, and we were like kind of like figuring out where to find people to play with us that would understand what we were doing. And this guy randomly calls us and says like, "Hey, like, I just got a drum kit. Like, I'm in the band now, and I also found a singer." And this was an American guy named Ken Harron from I believe Maryland or something like that, and he was in Mexico City at the time because his dad, I believe, he was like some diplomat or something. He just came from Thailand, and now he was living in Mexico. And he was a growly, screamy type of like singer, like kind of like what like Marilyn Manson would do like a couple of years later, but it was very unique and extreme. And he didn't last long, and when he left, we switched to a trio, and that's been the format since, a three-piece with two vocalists.
Let me ask you this. Your songs often reflect horror movie references. At what age can you all tell me that you fell in love with the horror genre? Is there one defining moment?
Well, definitely picking stuff at Blockbuster. I checked out Army of Darkness, and then I was just like, what? And then, went back to Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead, and just started exploring the whole genre. But yeah, I just like was just walking through, and I saw the cover, and I was like, so divine inspiration.
I used to have a lot of sleepovers with friends. Like we had like a group of families, and we would just get together, a bunch of kids, and I remember we used to watch. The older kids would always be like, "Oh, let's watch Nightmare on Elm Street," and like, "What is that?" And or just things like that, like more action horror-y, like Terminator, or things are Predator. And I was so excited always when these things came about. So I got hooked, like I guess age 9 or 8.
Me, I also, when I was very young, around the same time that I found those metal records, but my grandfather used to have a satellite dish, and he would constantly record movies on Beta tapes of the dish, and of course it was like he didn't exactly have a lot of horror movies in that collection, but he did have Friday the 13th, and he did have The Shining, like the first three in one tape, back to back. And then he also had the Shining, and he also had, for some very bizarre reason, he had a Q, the wing of the serpent. So
the Larry Cohen.
Yeah, I guess that was my introduction to that more cold horror level.
All very solid choices. Can you all tell me, what do you think you would have done had you not ended up in a metal band?
Probably horror movies.
I mean, exactly, horror movies. I love writing. I've dabbled in writing. I have yet to finish this more of a long script that I have. I have this short, but I just love horror movies. I think that would have been another choice.
I don't really think about it. I just run with it, man.
What is the best gift that somebody has ever given you?
Randall.
I'm thinking. You go first.
That's a difficult one.
Well, when I would say the best gift was when I had some money, and you, Pablo, had some money, and we put together this money to buy my first drum kit, and that to me was probably one of the best gifts
Yeah,
because it changed my life.
it was quite the adventure. We had to go in Mexico City to a very um, rough part of town where they actually have the jail. You remember it was a Tama Rockstar kid.
Yeah, and it was pretty good. It lasted a long time. Um, yeah, I came about into the band years later after uh, Mr. Russ' story. It was when you had gone through a couple lineups, and you were kind of dismayed with the whole, like, some people in the band were trying to go other direction.
Yeah, it was always that same thing. Like people wanted to fit. They wanted to do what made sense at a given moment in time. First, it was the whole Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and then a couple of years later, like everyone wanted to be
Tool.
nu metal or Tool or
Yeah.
Godsmack or whatever, right? And but there was never like no one wanted to do no one wanted to be different, right? And that's what we have in common.
That actually leads me to my next question. Who was your biggest musical influences growing up as opposed to now? Have they changed now that you're older?
Biggest as a band or a person or music or a musician?
Probably musician-wise.
Musician. I guess Neil Peart, because even before I became a drummer,
Mm-hmm.
I of course I always knew that I liked drummers, and I was like, oh, this is a cool instrument, and I had a cousin that had a drum kit, and I would go on it, and I just never got really excited to actually learn it. Like, I would try, and then I would just drop it. But one day I was just like listening to a lot of Rush, and it's somehow the drums spoke to me, like, oh, this is how drums should sound, and every single tom and every single cymbal, you can feel it, you can, I don't know, hear it, and then I think when I started to meet the Rusty Eye guys, we started talking about music, and I just had this little thing in my head, like, well, I always wanted to be a drummer, and so I would say that I owe Neil Peart also the lyricist point of view, where he wrote a lot of the Rush songs. So I like writing, so I just figured, why don't I kind of become like him, but a woman.
Tony?
Anyone else?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, I take like a lot of influences from a bunch of different people. I've said for a long time, just try, because people ask me that question, I'm like, oh, because I take from the friends I jam with, the teachers I've had, all the music I listen to and I like. I mean, early on, of course, it's like the classics like Slayer, Megadeth, Metallica, and stuff like that. But really, like the main guys that I think back on that like really helped me, I mean, would be like James Hetfield, Marty Friedman, Dave Mustaine, Chuck Schuldiner, Neil Young. Even people were like weird with that, but I don't know. I love all different aspects of different artists. You know, there's so many things you can take from different people. It's hard to peg down just one. You know.
For me, I would say definitely Steve Harris, although I think he's changed a lot over the years, and he's not what he used to be, in the sense that the songwriting in Iron Maiden's a little bit more distributed in the past decades, whereas in the end it was Steve Harris's band, you know. So that's that being one of my biggest, probably my biggest influence. Like, that's something that I noticed that it's not the same as it was once, but still and he's an amazing bass player, an amazing songwriter, and he is in the same category as bass players that are very melodic and not only rhythm, and like the Bert Shelley, the guy from Budgie, or Cliff Burton, that sort of thing.
Let me ask you, what's the craziest thing a fan's ever asked you guys to do? You ever get any weird requests?
At a concert?
In general.
Let me think.
Nobody ever asked on their ass before, nothing, right?
No. Well, one time at a concert, it was like a club vodka. Everybody was really drunk, obviously club vodka, and some girl just like flashed her tits to me, and I'm like, okay, cool. that was really nice. Not that she asked me to do anything. Maybe she wanted me to react, but that would be kind of the craziest kind of reaction.
Nobody ever reacts when I flash my tits to them. I don't
know. They're probably blinded momentarily.
How about you guys? Any weird requests?
Well, there's I don't remember, well, not exactly like that, but I remember once asked to sign a record, and it was such a pirated version of it that I have never even seen it.
Oh, wow.
That's been an interesting moment, definitely.
The weirdest one for me actually wasn't something I was asked, but there was actually someone at a show that was in the bushes drunk, and after the show ended up finding out where he lived somehow and driving him home. So that was interesting. He didn't ask though. He was just like,
That's nice.
Is there any bands that you've played with that were actually like just really shitty with you, and how did you handle that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Well, it's a sweet, sour, I guess bittersweet thing, because they were.
I have something to say about it, and Julie's going to agree with me. We opened for Doro Pesh, and she represents female heavy metal, and she's such a figure in it, and this is something that I've noticed as a guy generally, and it's usually those women that are in the bands that try to sell that women should play, that women should unite, that all this feminist discourse. And when we play for Doro, she could probably hear her because it was at the Whiskey. She didn't even like look who was that girl playing the drums and singing at the same time. And I found that very strange, because based on what she sells, she should have been the first person impressed. But no, closed doors. I don't. So
I think her bandmates showed up, or saw a couple things, but yeah, she never showed up.
Yeah, so that's and then we also had the Moonspell pulled Danzig on us, and moved our set time, and of course all the people we invite to see us didn't get to see us because we played 1 hour before, because he wanted to finish the whole show early, and that led to a big drama. And the whole what he used to convince us is that well, I'll help you out down the line, if you help me I help you, blah blah blah. never heard from the guy again. So
Well, he did get me into one of their shows one time here. They were in town, I guess. But
I guess that was worth not having our crowd see us.
yeah, yeah.
Has anyone ever ripped you guys off or refused to pay you after a show, and how do you deal with that?
Well, that same one, I would say, because we sold tickets for this show, and these people wanted to see us. I feel like that was a bit not me.
Yeah, indirectly a rip-off due to the fact. Yeah.
But have we ever been ripped off that you remember?
Well, there was that time in Mexico, Pablo. Remember, we showed up to the place and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're not getting paid." Like we gave away all the tickets, and we're like, "Yeah, we're leaving." Like,
yeah, that actually I had completely forgotten about that. That did happen, and it was very strange because I guess they didn't do any promotion. No one knew about the show and stuff like that, and then they're like, "Oh, we don't have any money to pay you. If you want to pay, you have to just do it for free." So
yeah, after it was already like guaranteed. They already said like, "Hey, we're going to pay you. Come here." To this horrible part of town.
That sucks. Let me ask you all, if you could collaborate with one musician that you haven't had an opportunity yet to play with, who would it be and why?
I would love to maybe do something with Devin Townsend. He's really, really talented. And, I would definitely do that.
As far as current musicians, I've just gotten really into this band called Church of the Cosmic Skull, so I'd love to jam with those guys.
Want to check them out?
Yeah, they're cool. It's like retro 70s, like kind of mashup stuff.
Sounds killer, man. Mr. Rost?
Well, I'd have to think about that because I guess Claudio Simonetti, so we already crossed that out of the bucket list, but that would be the first choice. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Was that on Possessor?
Maybe Fabio Frizzi would be another one. That would be a good choice.
Definitely.
We can make that happen.
We should. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
We're overdue.
Yeah.
Has being in a band ever been a detriment on relationships, whether it being family, friends, loved ones? Is it hard to be in a band and maintain that balance between the two?
Well, yeah, they have to understand that you're dedicated and that you have obligations that are bigger than you. And a lot of people don't like that. They don't like to be number two, So, but it's just a matter of fact. Either you do it or you don't do a band,
Yeah,
Right.
I guess when I started doing this band thing with Rusty Eye back in Mexico, I was really young, and most of my friends, obviously, we were all in high school, late high school, and they were just not understanding of my pursuit to learn this instrument and to play in this band and this kind of music. So that kind of locked me out of a lot of some social circles. But then the people that were worth it, they circled back, and that was fine.
Nice.
And yeah, no, definitely. That's always a complication. And aside from the relationships and all that, it's also how people perceive it, because there's different ways to measure success, what's successful, right? And in music, people assume that if you're not as big as Pearl Jam and whoever, you're not worth it, right? And that perception is completely wrong, because you do this because it's your calling and because it's what you do. You don't do it for any other reason, where it is a financial or popularity or success in that sense. Because when you do something artistic, the spiritual satisfaction that comes with it, that actually serves the purpose, right? So that's a little difficult for some people to understand when you're not a big big brand or a big name, you know.
Let me ask you, in this age of technology, do you folks consider it a detriment or a positive thing in getting your music out there as a tool?
Well, some of these tools are getting a little rip-offy, I would say. What do you think, Pablo? Like, do we?
I mean, like right now that we put our album out, like I've noticed, it's been a while since we had a full length in English, like the one we just put out, and comparing to the previous big release like that, I felt like this whole Spotify type of world, like it's too much hassle. People are unreachable. People are not willing to hear new things. Like they only benefit the dinosaur artists and whatever their friends give them. Like there's no real connection in that world, and you're fighting to get on these playlists curated by the Spotify people, and it's so difficult, and they don't want to hear from you, but you're fighting and fighting and fighting, and all so they pay you like 10 cents. It's not even worth the struggle, you see. So that's the main like I remember when we put out Possessor, we got so many reviews, so many people talking about it. And nowadays it's changed. Nowadays, it's if you don't get with the Spotify editors, there's nowhere else to go. And the Spotify editors won't put us on the playlist. So it's definitely a plus because it's a marketing tool and it benefits, but it's also a detriment because these platforms support what everyone knows. You know, like ACDC, like go straight to the playlist. You know. And then there's a couple bands that no one, but that's very rare. It's not the norm, you see.
Let's talk about the new album, Dissecting Shadows. I've listened to it repeatedly. I love it. It's awesome. But can you tell me, how has COVID affected recording new material?
Well, luckily we ventured into recording more songs on top of what you can hear in the album. Mm-hmm. So we're ready to have that as a backup. But yeah, we're hoping, I don't know, next year when we have like the vaccine and everything, and we can totally do it. And of course, we already started getting together, and we're very cautious, so we should have no problem continuing.
Yeah, we did one of those like streaming shows that's gonna play in a Mexican festival December 27th. So we got together to do that. It was new for us. It was quite the challenge to record and film and play, and with no cameraman, no help. Like we did everything. So it was a little hard, but it came out good. And at the same time, very weird to play without an audience because it's like rehearsing, and I don't know.
That's the weirdest part.
To put the same amount of energy you would when you don't have the audience, because the audience feedbacks and plays a role in this energy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that will be live.
Get excited, you know. But if you're playing in the room, feels a little bit more like a rehearsal. So definitely a weird circumstance. So that's what there is. I'm actually glad that we got to do it.
Yeah. There's no substitute for live music, though.
Oh, there surely isn't. I mean, it's my wife and I. We've been going to 3-4 live shows a month. That's like our thing. And man, now that with quarantine and all this, like it's. I just yeah, I know. I just like climbing the walls. I mean, the live stream thing's cool, but I mean, it's like you said, it's never going to replace live music.
I know.
Oh, but there's also a problem with that people are not really into them. I just
Because
heard
it's not good enough. It's not the same.
story now, like one does it, and the other one, and the second one does it, and then a third one, and now that's the norm, and everyone just goes and follows. I heard from this artist in Mexico that they spend a fortune to do a live streaming, so they got the best stage they could, and the best lights, and the best video effects, and the best cameras, and they were counting to pay that off with the ticket sales, and it was a disaster, and now they owe all that money, and
Oops.
it's already streamed. There's no way of getting people to pay for it anymore. So yeah, it's not as they make it sound like everyone's like dying to see those. Not really.
They get old pretty quickly, actually. I mean, unless somebody's doing something really special, it's like you said. I've seen one, but then everybody follows suit, and there's really no difference, you know. Like, well, let me ask you more about the new album here. What inspired you to write it, and what influences do you all individually bring to making this album?
Well, in the songwriting, it was very balanced. So we all had like our own inspirations that we did. I actually took from like some personal family tragedy for one of the songs, and then you know, just inspirations that we've had kind of out there. It was a few years in between our original albums, so we had time to like stockpile ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the idea, I believe, the song and the title of the album was to kind of bring like a Pandora's box of ideas and dissecting shadows, kind of like a little bit Evil Dead, just, you know, the spirits going crazy and you're dissecting them. It can have many meanings, so I don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of levels you can analyze it too. There's also, you know, the Jungian shadow, like your dark side, and examining the evil within you and stuff. But.
Yeah, but always we're like, oh, it would be cool to make. Well, it's not in this album, but I'm not ruining it. But there's a song like it's inspired by Green Inferno and like the jungle.
Nice.
And that's and just like we there's another one, Mrs. Baylock. Yeah, obviously we love the Omen. So
that's on this new album, I remember.
Yeah.
There's an Evil Dead reference too, right? The Kandarian the song.
Yeah.
They're in Dreaming and a Hellbound witch, making the point of view of the witch who is.
I love all that shit, man. I love how you guys always represent the horror genre right. I love it. Like,
Thank you.
Have you ever had a supernatural experience? Anyone of you?
Well, I grew up in Mexico, and there's a lot of telltales, you know, the Llorona and things like that. Everywhere you go, like haciendas, there's always like a ghost story, like from the revolution, that there's this ghost that comes and there's these bells that you hear. I personally have felt things, but I never seen anything. It's more like I get a vibe, and then I get confirmation from people. Oh yeah, there's something going on, and I don't know. That's the only thing I've gotten.
I actually once I woke up and the TV was on, and then there was like a lot of like disturbing footage on screen, and then the TV started talking to me. And I watched a documentary on dreams, and it seems that that's a thing. Like it happens to a lot of people. So that was definitely weird and scary.
And you?
I mean, not something I could say is like some kind of anecdote, but I mean, I think that, you know, there's things that we don't understand and that we're all, you know, just kind of awash in the sea.
Thank you. I got a couple more for you before I let you guys go. I don't want to talk your ear off, but all of you, best horror film ever and worst horror film ever.
I'm gonna start with the worst. I watched the Danzig thing, and
Veronica.
horrible things, and I was hoping it wasn't as bad and people didn't understand, but it was unwatchable.
Oh, it's pretty bad. He's making a vampire western too, and I'm like, that sounds cool, but after seeing Veronica, I'm like, Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say that Suspiria is a horror film. Yes and no, but yeah, that's my favorite.
Very good.
Obviously, more of a vintage one, maybe Demon Seed, if you wanna. Demon Seed would be one of my top favorites. A terrible horror movie, Knock Knock, with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That last 10 minutes is ridiculous.
That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
How about you, sir?
As far as, I mean, I'm not gonna say like best movie ever, but I say it's like as far as best newer horror movie, because there's like so many I love. I can't pick, but as far as newer ones, I really love Mandy.
Mandy is incredible for sure.
Oh, I mean, also I really like Color Out of Space, like Nicolas Cage.
That was
so
really
many good movies.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Richard
very good.
Stanley.
And also probably the worst horror movie would be another Nicolas Cage movie. I'm not even gonna bother. But, like I'm sure you've seen his descent into Netflix B movies and stuff. They're pretty interesting. But also B movies like walk a line with me because I love them for their shittiness, and also I acknowledge that they're so shitty. So
I'm not gonna keep much longer. I promise. I only have a couple more questions, and I'll wrap it up. But let me go back to where I was at here. We was talking about horror films.
Yeah, I was about to tell you what I had to choose for my worst movie ever, which is hard to choose. But I'm glad the little break happened because I looked at my collection and probably Zombie Death House. It's pretty good. It comes with a $1,000 shock insurance policy in case you die while watching it, but it's expired, so if I die, I don't get anything.
See, you were talking about bad movies. You see, I like bad movies that are so bad they're good.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about ones that are so bad that you can't fucking get through them. Like they're just.
The difference, man.
Mine is it's called. Was it Carnage? Legend of Quill Face. Have you guys ever seen that?
Carnage, Legend
of Cruel Face.
Quilt Face.
Oh.
And it's funny because I always tell everybody how shitty this movie is, and after I explain it, they go, "Wow, that sounds pretty fucking good." And I'm like, "No, that's not what I'm looking for." But here's the whole movie. There's a guy named Quilt Face. He took like a piece of an old quilt, like a bedspread, and makes a mask out of it, and it's shot on VHS, and it's on one stretch of road. And people break down, obviously, and then he pops out, bam, stabs them, and he disappears, and they're like, Quill Face, no, Quill. And this goes on for 90 minutes, and you just see the whole movie.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. I'm just looking it up right now.
You guys see the trailer. You'll love it. Just
awesome.
watch the trailer, though. Don't waste the.
Yeah.
Never get the 90 minutes of your life back again. Don't do that. I took the bullet for everyone. So. Anybody else still have any so bad they're good?
I mean, I want to complain about. Well, I recently saw the last Cronenberg. Well, it's not Cronenberg. It's the son.
Possessor.
Cronenberg. Yeah, Possessor. And I really like how it looks. It's amazing, but makes no sense. Like the story just kind of.
Got a good name too.
Possessor is like
I think the concept is really cool. But it is kind of boring.
Yeah.
I mean, the gore is really good, though. But I mean,
yeah, the gore is good.
I mean, stylistically, he kind of looks like his dad. But I mean, I sort of enjoyed it. But I mean, it's his first movie too. Hopefully, over the years, he'll kind of.
Oh no! Actually, he's done this other one.
Oh, he did a movie before Possessor.
Yeah, I think it was something about a virus.
Oh yeah.
And actually, that one was pretty good.
Oh, he has no excuse then. Fuck him.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't want Brandon Cronenberg sending me hate mail.
No.
You made a powerful enemy.
I sure did. Hey,
I just like when stories it pisses me off when stories just okay, all for that, for nothing, just for what? Just, I don't know, it pisses me off.
I love that chick from Mandy though as an actress. She's really good.
Oh yeah, she's great. She's really good. She's in Black Mirror, in an episode of Black Mirror. I think she also kind of goes crazy or something.
Did you guys have horror hosts growing up? Because I know the person that actually got me into the horror genre was a local horror host named Chili Billy, and he used to have a show called Chiller Theater.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
play all them crazy movies, and that's what actually, got me. And ever since, man, like I've been into it. And of course, Elvira but all that. But you guys
Yes.
familiar with Joe Bob Briggs?
Yeah, I religiously watch.
Shudder, you watch Last Drive-In?
On Shudder, yeah,
I grew up with him, and he's such a cool dude, man. Like I like the stuff they play.
And back in the day, like back from the satellite dish, well, there was Elvira. He was also in there and stuff like that. But I didn't really watch any of that in the 80s.
What was have you guys ever had any influence from any horror hosts, or that wasn't going on?
Yeah, well,
Elvira.
yeah, I mean, the closest thing I did that was Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, I'm the biggest mystery ever, dude. Are you kidding me?
Those were awesome.
In fact, I drive everybody here nuts. I still watching that.
Oh yeah.
I have an external hard drive of everyone ever made. Actually, I went to see the live show
Nice.
in Minneapolis. That was
Oh, in one of your previous questions, I take it back. One of the first horror movies, and I would say horror movies because even though it was Disney, it's a horror movie. The Boogedy, Mr. Boogedy.
Oh,
that gave me nightmares. Yeah.
Oh, I think it gave every kid nightmares back then. It was that was awesome. I still watch it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great stuff. I was really young and scared.
Let me ask you guys, what's one trend going on right now in music that you just don't understand?
Face tattoos.
Face tattoos.
I might get that because I'm ugly and I don't need to help,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need.
No, I mean, it's cool. It's everybody can do their own self-expression, but it's such a follower thing nowadays. It's it doesn't make sense to me, but that's fine. They can do what they want.
It's so confusing to even figure out what's a trend with so many things going on at the same time. Like everything just goes on every single direction. So it's certainly confusing times and filled with a lot of information.
Yeah, I mean, in terms, I guess a lot of the older stuff, the female-fronted stuff, I'm sorry, it just bands like In This Moment and things like that. It just seems to me like they're just choosing metal because they never broke into the mainstream, so they just kind of went metal. So why don't you this woman should just break away from metal and just dedicate herself to pop or something, because it's a joke, and to me it's a joke that everybody applauds this kind of music, and it's horrible. It's you look at it, you're like, and everybody's, she's so talented. She's a pop star, not a metalhead. I'm sorry. Yeah, she has tattoos, whatever. But
I agree with that more too, actually. People trying to be plastic and fake in the metal genre. It's not a pop thing, we're going to be metal, until the sun explodes and stuff. And there's always been metal culture, it just hasn't been called metal culture. People have always been like this. But to try and co-opt it with some kind of bubblegum plastic stuff, it doesn't ring true. Doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Two more things, and I'm gonna let you out of here. If they made a biopic about Rusty Eye, who would you guys want to play?
To play us?
Yes.
Who would I want to play in the biopic? Because I call Mr. Rust.
Either one.
I'll be the Rock.
I totally see that.
I don't know. An actress would play me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I really love the actress in Killing Eve. She's actually British, but she plays a Russian spy. I think she's badass. She's a badass evil person. The way when she kills people in the show, it's so dry and so she's dead. She's a beautiful woman, and you can tell when she kills, it's like she's dead. Like she doesn't care. It's like whatever.
With a dead eye.
Yeah, yeah. So if she can play me, sure, that'll be amazing.
I could see it's just blank behind that stare. Force for killing whatsoever.
And me, I don't know if he's still around because he was one of those troubled actors. But there's that guy Nick Stahl that he was.
He's still around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good choice.
He kind of has a resemblance with me, so that would be the good choice, I guess.
That is a good choice. What's one thing you guys couldn't live without?
Music.
Yeah, music, definitely.
Music. It just in many ways it just heals you, and sometimes it just you feel like rocking or whatever or sad. I don't know. Even yesterday, I was feeling very frustrated with life after going through calls with banks and insurance and health insurance issues, and I was just like, in this song of Yes by Yes came into my mind, and it just started soothing me, and I was like, okay, I need to listen to this right now and just calm down. It was the Soon song. Anyway, it was just like beautiful and just kind of calmed me, and then I went into heavier things. But sometimes you want that, or you just want to rock out and just need some death. You need to listen to Death and Chuck Schuldiner rocking. I don't know.
In closing, do you guys have any words of encouragement for people in this fucked up time, and what is in the future for Rusty Eye?
Just that that's not a good. I would say to just keep, even sometimes if you're not motivated to pick up your instrument, just make a note like, well, I'll pick it up tomorrow, or just do that thing you always wanted to do and keep on trucking. Set yourself goals, I guess. Realistic goals, but don't if you didn't do a deadline like, oh, by this time I didn't do this, be nice to yourself. We're all going through bad times.
I would say to to hope this is over soon and everything gets back to normal. So it's all about being patient. And as far as new plans, well, we already have 5 songs ready to go. We just need to define if we're gonna go the full album route again, or we're gonna release them as singles and then an EP, or what the circumstance is. Because since we haven't been able to promote with the live shows and all that, it's definitely important to keep relevant. Yet at the same time, we have to see what's more convenient for us to do. So we're gonna give it a couple of months and see how things start shaping up, to see if by next year, January, February, we start releasing these singles gradually, because that would keep us afloat for many months to come. Because it is like right now that you put the album out and you can promote, like really like everything happens so fast, and it's very difficult to keep the momentum going,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most importantly, where can we keep up with you guys on social media, and where can we order your music to support the band?
RustyEye.com, and there's the store section, store.rustyeye.com. That's where you find the vinyls, the boombox players with the cassette tape, the CDs, like everything's there. T-shirts, glasses, lighters, stickers, whatnot. And of course, you can find us everywhere. I mean, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, you name it, I guess the easiest thing would be to Google Rusty Eye, and then you can see a lot of options.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, good.
Oh, I was going to say that, whether or not they shop with us, but you have to support your community right now. Because when the dust settles, the big guys are still going to be there. But if you want anybody else to be around, it's the time you have to support people that you care about.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
right, man.
Speaking of horror. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like there's local horror stores, dark delicacies, and Halloween town. Like I
Yeah,
only
shop's
bought some
small,
things.
man. Like, yeah,
Shops,
everything else is making record profits, and everything else, and all the small businesses are dying. So you gotta vote with your dollars.
That's
Yeah.
actually what I was going to say. It's been hit hard around here. There's been so many local mom and pop businesses that's went to the wayside, like just in the past half a year, and it's really, really sad. So I think that's. I'm glad we're ending on that because that's such an important message. Like,
Yeah,
3 more support local business, the big guys.
yeah, quadruple down
Yeah.
as much as you can. You know, who cares if it comes late? You know, like, yeah.
Yeah, don't shop Target. Go to the smaller shops. Go.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for being a guest. I can't appreciate it more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace and love. And like they said, visit Rusty Eyes store. Make sure you support these guys. I've loved them for such a long time, and they shred. Love you guys. Peace
If
and
we
love.
make another poster, we'll send you that because you already have one, the Mr. Cannibal.
Oh no! Oh, I would love that. Yeah, I'll send you a picture once I get it framed.
Nice.
Yeah. He just bought it. Well, you're moving into your new place and you're framing it. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, let me tell you real fast. I'm done. The interview's done now, but I didn't get to tell these guys. They might appreciate it. I actually just got married in October in the.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. I got married in the Evans City Cemetery where the original Night of the Living Dead was filmed.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dedication.
It was pretty cool, man. It's, I'm glad you guys appreciate that. And it was a pleasure to meet all.
Was it a zombie-themed wedding?
No, actually you're not allowed. No, actually it was a process, believe it or not. We actually had permission, and they had the Zillionople board had the vote on it to see if.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And they said absolutely nobody dressing up like zombies or being.
Oh.
But it was still really cool that we got married right by the tombstone, the very first one where Bill Hines was down, and right where Barbara's brother cracks his head. So I actually have a picture of me laying. I actually kind of snuck it, and I'm cracking my head off. I was telling Miss Randall, my buddy actually that does the artwork for my show. He took I'm actually like this with my wife, and then he took the zombie and Barbara's brother and superimposed it into our picture. So it's really cool. So
Nice.
We have to see this.
I'll send you guys some pictures, man. But like, stay in touch. It was a great talking to you all.
Oh yes.
Awesome people, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This Sunday, I'm going to edit. Whenever I get my artwork back, I'll send it to you guys and see if you dig it, and then we'll start. I'm going to start promoting the shit out of it. So
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, let us know.
love you guys. Peace and love.
Thanks.
All right, have a good one.
Mm.
Bye.
Adios, everybody.